Blood dripped from the rawhide straps around her wrists, staining the dusty Montana soil under the old cottonwood tree. Jake Harlan had witnessed his share of death in his 42-year son's Civil War fields, during brutal trail drives and in dusty saloon fights, but nothing hit him like the sight of this Sioux woman, battered and abandoned to die by the rushing Bitterroot River. Her breaths came in ragged whispers, her dark hair fanned across sun-kissed shoulders, and even in her broken state, she radiated a wild spirit, like an untamed Mustang, fierce, beautiful, unbreakable. The wise move would be to mount up and ride off. Sioux matters weren't for outsiders, especially in these tense times after the battles at the Little Bighorn. But as Jake knelt beside her, pressing fingers to her slender neck for a pulse, he knew he was about to shatter every unspoken rule in the Montana Territory. Sometimes a man had to pick between what's safe and what's right. What would you do if saving a life meant gambling your own world? October 1882. The Lazy H Ranch sprawled 25 miles from Billings, where the vast plains met the jagged Rockies, making a man feel alive yet insignificant under that endless blue sky. Jake had sought this solitude after losing his wife, Emily, and their young son to a cholera outbreak 4 years back. Out here, the only company was the whisper of wind through sagebrush and the distant bellows of his 150 longhorns. It let him bury the emptiness in his chest, pretending it was just the thin mountain air, not the void where his family once lived. He was mending a barbed wire fence near the river when he spotted hair-off flash of color against the brown earth that screamed trouble. His gelding, Storm, pawed nervously, ears pricked. Jake grabbed his Henry rifle and crept closer on foot. She was crumpled under the ancient cottonwood, hands tied tight, her deerskin dress shredded and crusted with blood. Sioux, no doubt, from the intricate quill work and beaded moccasins glinting in the sun. Someone had laid into her with a whip, leaving raw stripes across her back and legs. But it was her face that froze him. Even bruised, she was stunning sharp cheekbones, full lips cracked from thirst, skin like warm honey. She looked no older than 24. Jake had picked up some Sioux words from his scouting days. He caught the faint scent of sweetgrass in her hair, used in their sacred rituals. This wasn't random cruelty. This was tribal justice. His mind raced through the risks. Sioux raids still terrorized settlers, and the army was on high alert post Custer. Getting mixed up could end in a scalping for him, and worse for her. Yet, as he watched her fight for air, Emily's words echoed in his head. A man's worth ain't in what he says, Jake, it's in what he does when nobody's looking. Damn it all, he grumbled, slinging the rifle and slicing her bonds with his Bowie knife. He scooped her up, shocked at how light she felt, how her form molded against him. Her eyes cracked open deep hazel, burning with defiance even in pain, and something stirred in him, long forgotten. The ride back was agony. She faded in and out, her body pressed close, every jolt of Storm's gait sending jolts through Jake. Her scent, sweetgrass, leather, and pure woman filled his senses. It had been years since he'd held anyone, and his traitorous body reacted, shame mixing with the urgency. By dusk, they reached his log cabin, simple, sturdy, with a fieldstone hearth and shelves of books Emily had hauled for back east. He laid her on his bed, boiled water, and gathered linens. As he cleaned her wounds, he fought to ignore the graceful arch of her back, the way her breath made her skin glow in the lantern light. Suddenly, she bolted awake, a hidden knife flashing in her grip. Back off! Her English was clipped but clear. Jake raised his hands, rag dripping. Easy. I ain't here to hurt you. You're a Wasatch white man. You think you can claim whatever you touch. Her hazel eyes blazed with fury and hurt. I think you were dying by that river, and now you're not. We can sort the rest later. She eyed him, knife steady despite her frailty. Whatever she saw softened her just a fraction. Why? 'Cause leaving you would have made me less of the man I aim to be. They locked eyes in the flickering light. Her beauty hit harder up close. Those piercing eyes holding untold stories. The curve of her shoulder where her dress had slipped, revealing smooth skin. Jake looked away, pulse racing. "I'm Luda," she said at last. "Red Moon. But they stripped me of its shade. I shamed it." Her voice cracked. "What's your offense, Luda? Must be grave for that kind of beating." Her laugh was sharp, bitter. "I refused the husband they picked. He has 3 wives already beat some raw. I said no." She met his gaze, unyielding. "Among my people, that's defiance." Jake's gut twisted rage at her kinship with her spirit. Another soul punished for forging her own trail. "Well, in my home, a woman's no is law. Call yourself what fits." "Lena," she murmured after a beat. "From the boarding school nuns. Means light." "Lena, it is—" He nodded to the water. "Let me tend those cuts. They'll turn bad otherwise." This time, she let him. His rough hands were tender, tracing cloth over her skin. She shivered at his touch along her neck, a soft intake of breath at a sore spot. "You've done this before," she noted quietly. "War teaches more than killing." As he worked, she scanned his face, the crinkles around his blue eyes, silver in his sandy hair, the steady assurance. "This place has a woman's touch curtains, dried herbs." "Where is she?" Jake paused. "Buried out back with our boy. Cholera, 4 winters ago." "I'm sorry." She heard his sorrow, saw it in his slumped frame. "That's why you're alone. Safer that vacant lose what you don't hold." Lena touched his jaw without thinking. The contact was electric. Neither flinched. "Sometimes," she whispered, "that safety cages you worse than chains." In the weeks after, Lena proved her mettle. She handled horses like an extension of herself, knew herbs for healing and poisons alike, and tracked deer over barren ground. Her pride ran deep. Once on her feet, she demanded work-fixing gear, planting corn, tending the garden with skills that shamed Jake's. "You owe me nothing," he said one dawn, watching her weave patterns into a saddle blanket. "I'll myself," she shot back. "I won't burden another man." But it was the quiet times that unraveled him. Her humming Sioux songs while churning butter, making his throat tight, her silhouette at twilight, wind hugging her dress to her hips, the fluid grace in her stride, her braiding that raven hair. A month in, she caught him staring as she pinned close to the line. Their gazes met, sparking unspoken heat. That night, over venison stew she'd spiced with wild onions, she broke the silence. "Tell me about her, your wife." Jake set his fork down. "Why?" "She lingers herein how you stack wood. Set the table." Emily was pure light, saw good in everyone. He smiled faintly. "She'd have admired you. Said strength and gentleness ain't enemies, just kin." Lena eyed him over her mug. "Do you see gentleness in me?" The air thickened. Jake really looked. A survivor of betrayal, harder worker than most men, whisperer to colts, slayer of coyotes. "I see someone who heals instead of hates despite every reason to." Lena stood by the fire, her outline gilded. She unpinned her hair, letting it cascade like midnight silk. "In my tribe, a woman's hair is sacred, only her man sees it loose." She turned, eyes locked. "But I'm tribe no more. You've shown me true respect." The room crackled. Jake rose, every nerve alive to her warmth, the pulse at her throat. "Lena," he rasped. She closed the gap, sweetgrass scent enveloping him. "Do you want me gone, Jake Harlan?" "Hell no, but I won't exploit." She pressed a finger to his lips. "What if I'm the one exploiting?" Her kiss started soft, exploratory, but ignited when he groaned and drew her in. They consumed each other, hands and hair, bodies aligning with the starved passion of the long lonely. Lena was fire and silk. When she tugged his shirt open, kissing his pounding heart, Jake's restraint shattered. He carried her to bed, laying her down reverently. What followed was tender frenzy, years of isolation dissolving in shared rhythm, her guiding him to peaks of ecstasy, proving desire could mend. After tangled in sheets, her head on his chest. Jake murmured, "Never figured on feeling this again." Lena gazed up. "Me neither. But some risks birth miracles." For weeks of heaven shattered with the thunder of unshod ponies. Lena tensed first, mid-fence repair. "Sue," she said flatly, joy fleeing her face. Jake spotted 6 riders on the ridge, warriors in war paint, bows and rifles mixed. Leading was an elder, regal and grim. "My uncle," Lena whispered. "Chief Gray Wolf, our band's elder." They halted at the Fencia line of respect or threat. Gray Wolf advanced. "I seek the one called Luda." "I'm here, uncle." Lena stepped up, reclaiming her Sioux poise, but stayed by Jakia' quiet claim. "You shame us, child. This Wasatchu has poisoned your blood, made you forget your roots. He's freed me to choose them." Lena's voice held steel. Gray Wolf's laugh cut deep. "Traded kin, spirits for what? His bed? His kind slaughtered your mother," at Wounded Knee echoes. The barb stung, but Lena stood firm. "My mother died for our right to paths unforced. I honor her by mine." Jake spoke up. "Sir, with respect, your kin came to me dying. I offered shelter, care, nothing more till she chose. You claim her as yours? Twist her into white ways." "I love her," Jake declared. "She chooses to stay." The word hung heavy. Gray Wolf eyed them. This weathered rancher and his brother's defiant daughter. Love? Wasatch love is theft. True love sacrifices for tribe, ancestors, future. Talina, return. Council relents if you wed Running Elk as decreed. He promises no more beatings if you submit. Lena paled. Running Elk murdered his last wife, uncle. Everyone whispers it. She was frail. Your fears see you'd endure. Enduring ain't living. Lena's tone sharpened. I've tasted the difference. Gray Wolf's face turned stone. Then exile. You're dead to us. A cruel right. He sliced a lock of her hair, letting it fall. My brother's child is gone. This shadow means nothing. The act gutted Lena worse than whips, but she held his stare. Yet Gray Wolf added, if this Wasatchu proves word, if he values his love, perhaps this shadow finds a bridge between realms. What proof? Jake asked. Combat. Dawn. You versus our mightiest. Win. We honor your bond. Depart. Lose. She faces justice. You die for aiding her. And if I refuse, we take her now, you perish. Jake glanced at Lena, her eyes pleading resignation. She'd known him for mere weeks. She expected his retreat. But seeing her fierce light in his dark life, the path was clear. Dawn. That night, Lena begged flight. You don't get it, strong bears slain 9 in duels. Then I'll be 10, Jake said, oiling his peacemaker, though it'd be fists. This ain't funny. She gripped him. I ain't worth your grave. He cupped her face. That's your mistake, darling. You're worth the world. Their lovemaking was raw desperation, tears on his skin as she moved above him, bodies etching memories. Dawn might steal it all. Morning broke chill, fog off the river like specters. The Sioux formed a circle. Strong bear loomed, massive, scarred, eyes void of pity, armed with a spiked tomahawk. Hand to hand, Gray Wolf decreed, till yield or death. Weapons of the soul alone. Jake bared to the waist, his scars pale against strong bear's bronze. Older, slighter, but ranch-hardened, eyes calm with nothing to forfeit. The clash was savage. Strong bear charged like a grizzly. Tomahawk no wait, hand to hand meant fists, but tradition blurred. Wait, Gray Wolf said no weapons, but strong bear swung wildly. Jake dodged, the air whistling death. He countered, grabbing the wrist, twisting momentum to slam an elbow into ribs, crack a bone. Strong bear roared, switching hands, grazing Jake's arm in a bloody gash. Lena's cry pierced the mist. Yield, Wasatch proud. Jake grinned through pain. Not my plan. He surged, throat punching, following with hooks, jaw, gut, temple. Fists flew in a blur of blood and sweat. knuckles splitting, breaths ragged. Youth fueled strong bear, but Jake's wars taught endurance. When the warrior knelt, heaving, Jake loomed. Yield. Strong bear glanced at his chief, then Jake. I yield. 8 months on, Lena stood on the porch, hand on her swelling belly, watching Jake herd cattle through green pastures. Their child would arrive with fall rains, fluttering like eagle wings inside. She wore cotton now, hair in a simple braid, but Sioux beads adorned her wrists, a blend of worlds. Gray Wolf honored the vow. No raids, though shadows on hills hinted watchers. Her people lingered, curious about her fate. Storm trotted up. Jake dismounted, wrapping arms around her, kissing her neck. How are my ladies? Fine. Lena laughed, melting into him. Though this one's a kicker warrior like her ma, or rider like her pa. They watched sunset paint the sky amber, the hue of their first kiss. Regret leaving your kin? Jake asked softly. She turned, tracing his face. How could I? This is home. In the vast Montana hush, with the meadowlark's call blessing them, Jake, Harlan, and Lena had it all: love, tomorrow's promise, freedom to craft their saga. What do you think about this story? Share your opinions in the comments below. Do you side with Lena's bold choice for freedom, or believe she should have honored tribal traditions? What's your stance on love crossing cultural lines? Let me know.